Good morning.
My name is Krishna Vavilala from the Foundation for India Studies. I'm doing this interview for the Indo-American Oral History project, which is an undertaking of the Foundation for India Studies. Today, our honored guest is Sita Mutyala, a community activist and also a helper to the Foundation for India Studies. She herself had conducted several interviews for our organization for the Oral History project. Today I'll be asking some questions about her life before coming to America and after coming to America as an immigrant. So let us start. Sita ji, I will say Sita Garu in Telugu. And it is our pleasure and an honor to interview you. I know from your bio, you were born in India. Please give us some sense of your life in India when you were born, where you were born, and who were your parents, and details like that.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so happy to be here because I love this project, Indo-American Oral History project. And I think that's very important to capture first immigrants' experiences that we brought to our current homeland country, United States. And as you said, I was born in 1950 in East Godavari district. In Telugu we call it Turpu Godavari Jilla. Andhra Pradesh is the state in India. And my parents too, Sri Chundru Raju Garu and Subbayamma Garu. And
you were born
in my mother's place, which is called Pallakadiyam, as the tradition to have the kids at parents' place. And then, so that village is called Pallakadiyam. It's a very small place. And then my father used to live in Chelluru at that time. Chelluru is the village name, again village. And then, and the interesting part is first 10 years I was with my grandparents because like we migrated to United States, my parents migrated to the city, Rajahmundry, for my elder siblings' studies, high school and all that, because village didn't have high school. So I stayed with my grandparents because I was only a year and a half when they migrated to Rajahmundry. So my elementary school was in Chelluru, as I was staying first 10 years of my life with my grandparents, Chundru Veeranna Garu and Chundru Seshayamma. So I actually consider them as my first parents. Then I stayed with my parents for 7 years while I went to high school in Rajahmundry. Then I got married to Mr. Bhaskar Rao Mutyala, whom we interviewed before in this project, and then came to United States in 1967, right after my high school.
So you grew up in your grandparents' house?
First 10 years.
10 years.
Then 7 years with my parents.
Then you moved to Rajahmundry, a town compared to your birthplace. And what school, high school did you go to?
I went to a missionary school, Shade Girls High School. That's actually, we used to have for English, from United States, the teachers from Iowa and from some other states for English. And it's a Christian missionary school, so I was exposed to the Christian stories, and I was in a lot of dramas as an angel, Mary's father, and like the Santa Claus, and so many, because I used to love being on the stage and doing Telugu dramas, English dramas, like that throughout my
So you were briefly exposed to Christianity?
For 7 years.
For 7 years. Yes. And your school day ended with a prayer, started with a Christian
with a
prayer,
prayer, yes.
and was there any coercion in the school to
Not
convert
at all.
at that time?
Not at all. Not
Okay.
at all. Only thing is we have to follow the school rules of close our eyes during the prayer, and one teacher used to watch us whether we are closing or not our eyes. But that's about it. First half an hour, which includes announcements, prayer, and everything.
And medium of instruction was English? Or
1 year they tried English medium, and of all the classes. But before, out of that 7 years. So before and after was this Telugu medium.
Oh.
So it was but we did study English just like I'm sure you did too. 3 languages: Telugu, Hindi, and English throughout our 7 years of school. So it was difficult when I came here because I was not fluent in talking in English. So in '67 when I came, it took some time for me to get adjusted to the fluency of English pronunciation, American pronunciation, and me to be able to talk.
Right. Was it a Catholic school or?
No, I cannot recollect what section of sect of missionary it is.
Yeah.
So I do not think it's Catholic. I don't know it's Presbyterian or Lutheran or what.
Yes, many missionaries, most of the Christian schools were from several missionaries from this country or Europe also.
The principal actually studied here in Pittsburgh, and she even had an article. And I met my principal several times when I went to India for a visit. So I used to go there and visit. And when we got married, she gave us a dinner as well. And she remembered me as a Chundru Sita.
Oh.
Every time she said, "Oh, Chundru Sita," and she remembered me very
You must
well.
be popular.
Well, one time I acted as Indira Gandhi, and I must have done a very good job. And the next day in the announcement, she said, "Chundu Sita, I received so many calls about how good you did as Indira Gandhi," and all that. So
See, the leadership qualities showed up even at that early stage.
I don't know about leadership quality or just stage performance, interest, or what.
So that is Rajamundry High School you went
Yes.
up. Yes. Was it a SSLC or matriculation?
It's a 12th grade called 7th form.
Oh,
7th form, which is, so high school was 9 through 12th. And before that, 6th to 8th, also I was there. So it was equal to PUC.
Oh.
So, but we study all the subjects from 9th to 12th, just like, 12th grade here. So our public exams were at the end of 12th grade, which actually happened after our marriage. And then 2 or 3 days after our marriage, I did take the public exams and I did do all right. And then I continued my college here in this country after I came
So
here.
high school education is in India.
Yes, 12th
And,
grades.
until you got married.
Yes.
And you tell me, please, how was it an introduced marriage, arranged marriage, or you saw?
You already called it introduced marriage. So it's, when they talked about arranged marriage here, it's not completely arranged because our parents do the introduction and we meet each other and we talk probably when the people are there, and maybe we do talk to one another privately just for a few minutes, like maybe 10 minutes or something like that. But we have the final say whether we do want to get married or not. Yes, it is a risk that we're taking, just like so many other risks that we take. Yes, we do have to evaluate and decide whether we want, we do get good vibrations and we do, our gut feeling, this is a good match for us and everything, and then we do give an okay. If we say no, our parents do not force us.
Right.
Most of the parents, I
So
don't know.
Bhaskar Rao Garu already was in America and he came to
Yes.
see you in Rajamundry?
Right.
Okay. And do you recall what were his questions at that time, introductory conversation starting
I'm trying to recollect now as you're asking. I don't remember his questions, but I do remember seeing him for the first time. And he came to United States in '62, and he went to University of Michigan, got masters, and worked for a while. And then he came to India to get married, and I was one of his matches that he was looking into. And whereas for me, he was the I guess maybe first one, or there might have been one before that people asked about, which I said no. Well, anyway, so, but I don't remember his questions to me, but I do remember my question. Because I was
what did you ask
I was
him?
so ignorant. I didn't know what MBA stands for. So I asked him, what does MBA stand for?
You know, in those days, let me tell you, I also didn't know where America was. I mean, I didn't really care, right? So, like that, many people, didn't know what the education system here and what it stands for. But you were kind of, because of marriage, you wanted, obviously, coming to America is a great thing that happened, and people look forward to going to America for higher studies. And what was your vision before you came to America? What you wanted to become in America?
My brother was already here in this country.
Okay.
He came in '60 and did masters and came home and worked for 3 years and came back to United States. So I already knew from him whatever I could get about United States. But I am very much interested. I was and I still am. My thirst for education has not complete yet. Well, anyway, it may take a few more lives. But anyway, so I was interested in education, whether in India or here. So I forgot what you asked me about.
No, your vision
before coming to United States. Yes, with
to study higher
education and then get into professional career is one of the thing. And other than that, I didn't really have any other vision other than just live happily ever after.
Sure. How old were you?
17 and a half. Actually 16 and a half, or 17. So you can
So which year you came?
67.
67. Okay.
To Muskegon, Michigan.
Okay.
My husband was working there, so I came to Muskegon, Michigan. Within 2 months, I started college, full-time college there. There's a beautiful campus community college there, Muskegon Community College. We recently went and visited just for our old memories. It's a 3-story creek running through, and Michigan has beautiful, colorful woods, winter colors and all that. So I went there for 2-year college there, associate in science and data processing actually. I was interested in several subjects, and my husband suggested, why don't you try the computer field and see if you like it. Then I loved it. So Muskegon had only 2-year degree college. So I finished my 2-year degree, and then I started working as a junior programmer because even though I wanted to finish my bachelor's there, they didn't have more than that. So I started working. And then when we moved to Chicago area, then I continued my education with Purdue University. So I got my bachelor's from Purdue in computer science, which was part of math department at that time. It was not a separate department, even in Purdue. So while working full-time, I went to part-time, working at Indiana University, taking classes both Indiana University and Purdue University to finish my bachelor's, and interested in having kids, and had 2 kids in the middle. So yeah. I juggled a lot of things.
Really? I know.
So, and we had a house full of people all the time because of big family.
So you had completed bachelor's and also you did your MBA, right?
MBA I did a lot later. At that time, so I completed my bachelor's, working full time, had 2 kids. And then after I had the second one, my husband suggested, young age of the kids is very important. Why don't you consider staying home with the kids? I thought about it. I thought it's a very good idea because I had them both in diapers actually. They both are very close, 1 year and 4 months apart. So I stayed at home for 3 years. During that 3 years, I needed to do something to get out of the house. So after my husband came home from his office, I said, here, develop a bonding with your kids. And then I did CPA during that time. So during those 3 years, I stayed at home. I took the necessary additional, accounting was my minor. So I did CPA during that time. And then when we moved to Alabama, is when I was ready to get back. Oh yeah, the deal between me and my husband was when my daughter starts kindergarten, then I will go back to work. So she started kindergarten when we went to Alabama. It's a new place. I don't know many people there. So I wanted to go back to work. Then my husband said, why don't you wait 1 more year till our son Subhakar also starts kindergarten. Then I said, no, I'm ready. Then he said, okay, thinking that in computer field, when you have a 3-year gap, it's hard to find a job. So he thought maybe I'll take 1 year to find a job. But I got my job in 2 weeks. So I started working over there. And then we moved to Houston in '81. So I continued. I got my job here in Houston with Gulf. So I stayed with the Gulf and I survived during the mergers, Gulf and Chevron merger and Chevron and Texaco merger.
You survived all
I
those.
survived 16 layoffs.
Oh,
I
yeah.
should say every
my
other
God.
year we had layoffs. I worked for 23 years. I'm sure we had around
That
16
means you must be
layoffs.
really good in your work. Otherwise, 16 survivals.
I know I was good, but and I survived all the computer changes, but I won't say excellent.
When you started in the computer field, was it these punch cards? Or?
Yes, punch cards. We had to type, we had to write and somebody else punch, and then cards and the feed and mainframe.
The IBM mainframes.
Yes, IBM mainframe. From mainframe to mini computers, and mini computers to personal computer PCs, and then from there to web. So it was a lot of hard work to maintain our skills and all this.
Keep upgrading your skill sets and surviving in the job market.
Exactly.
Well, you have been in the computer field for the last 32 years, and from your bio, I see. That was a great achievement.
I like it, and I'm glad with God's help and my husband's support and encouragement and family's help and my constant hard work.
And you have raised your children, and also I noticed from your bio that a wonderful thing that I really admired you for having a kid to kind of for somebody else. That is a great story. I just want to hear from you. How did it happen?
Sure. We have 2 children
Yes.
of our own. Sirisha,
Name them.
Yes, Sita Mutyala, and who married to Tom Yang, and they have beautiful 2 children, one son and 1 daughter, Srikar and Samira, and our son Subhakar Mutyala, who is married to Swapna Reddy, and they have 2 beautiful children too, 1 daughter and 1 son.
Son and daughter, medical doctors,
Yes.
is correct?
Yes, Gia and Kavin are their names, grandchildren. I treasure my grandchildren and God's gifts to us. And yes, they both are doctors. Sirisha is a pediatrician, and her husband is a ER doctor. And our son Subhakar is a radiation oncologist, and his wife Swapna Reddy is a lawyer and who has MPH and who is working on PhD in public policies. And after I had them both, we thought 2 are enough for us. And before I fixed myself, one idea came to me, because my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, my husband is 7 brothers and 1 sister. And that 1 sister didn't have kids. So my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law's family, both wife and husband, they always feel very bad that they don't have kids. So I encouraged them to, why don't you adopt, an orphan? Then they were afraid of the background of the child, what kind of experience they will have. They had a lot of fears. Then it dawned on to me, 1 year of my life can give them a whole life's, child for them. Then I thought, I consulted my husband, this is what I'm thinking, if they would like, before I fix myself, I'll have one kid, I know it's 1 year of my life, but that will be helpful for their whole life. Then he said, sure, if that's what you want, you're the one that's going to go through all that. Together we were going to have one additional one to give it to them. And but I wanted to ask them, if they want me to, then I will. Whether it's a boy or a girl, yeah, right, it's their kid from the day that the baby is born. They loved the idea, they wanted it, the child, definitely boy or a girl, and then we planned, me and my husband had one other one, and we planned them to come to this country 2 weeks before the kid was born, and then from the day the kid was born, it's theirs. So I didn't even breastfeed because I didn't want to develop, as it is, there is biological bonding, but I didn't want to develop additional bonding. So
a number of people adopt children from India.
Yeah, right.
And whereas this is
the
reverse.
other way.
Something is a very unique story, and it is a great sacrifice also.
The one that I'm very happy about is that it has been successful and very successful, and there's a lot of bondage between the boy who named he's named after my sister-in-law's father-in-law and all that. So the bonding was there, a lot of bonding. So they're quite happy with him and everything. And just yesterday he called, reminding us. So he calls me Sita Auntie, and his mother and Amma's birthday, 75th birthday yesterday. So he just called us to remind him to call her to wish her 75th happy birthday.
Does he know the origin?
Oh, from the beginning he knows. He knows because it's hard to hide.
Sure,
so in India it's hard to hide. And the one I'm happy with is it worked out excellent, and they're very happy, together. And all that hard work and whatever pain I had, it's all worth it. So that's
a great story.
I would have preferred them to give a home to an orphan, but this was the things happened that way. So that's the only way.
Unique story and a wonderful gift of life to your family, your own close family, and that to your husband's side family.
Yeah.
So of course I know for a long time you came to Houston in '81.
Right.
Ever since you have been very active in Telugu Cultural Association and various other organizations. Please tell us more about your activities.
Okay, I'm fond of Telugu a lot. Yeah. So when we came to '81, we heard that Telugu school just started and they're looking for help and participation and everything. Then I jumped at it. So I taught in Telugu school. I helped coordinate, conduct Telugu school for several years. In fact, I think you came once through ICCS, ICC member or something. I don't remember.
No, I was the president of Telugu Association.
At that time, probably.
So I know that there are three Telugu schools: Clear Lake, Elif, and KT. I think three. Which one were you running?
At the time when we were running, there was only one.
But
Elif was the only one.
Okay.
Maybe later on they came.
Clear. They used to come.
Okay. I don't know the years then. As I remember, at the time when I started, there was only one Telugu school. Then we used to have conducted among our parents 3 months at a place, and we used to have a youth summer camp and I used to write or direct.
Telugu school was very active all
In
the
Telugu
time. They
Cultural
wanted a
Association,
40-minute time slot
Yeah,
on the stage.
we used
I
to do
remember
that. Yeah.
And
I used to direct dramas and
Yes.
have all the students participate, and we used to participate. And so our kids grew up with Telugu school, and they still,
Remember the Vemana
not
session.
only remember, they still in touch, and they have that bonding among the students in Telugu schools wherever they go around the United States. So now there are quite a few Telugu schools I'm so happy about.
Yeah.
And what other things I got involved in?
You for the Telugu students, and you have done, I think, paintings, and
Yes,
you are a multi-talented person. You are an author, you are a painter, you are a social activist. So
I don't know whether that's good or bad, because I feel like maybe I'm putting my finger in everything and not getting mastering in one thing, but I do have multiple interests. I may not have all the depth that I should have. I may need few more lives to get the depth in it, but yes, I used to enjoy drawing, and I used to win competitions, art competitions, even in my high school. So I continued here in this country. I took some drawing classes, painting classes, and did a lot of for a Telugu Paluku, Telugu magazine in Chicago, Telugu Cultural Association, and here Madhuruvani. I used to draw cover
page art
and
done
then
by you.
right, and then some Bhavageyalu, which is an expression of I guess our feelings, our impressions that we get throughout our life.
Poetry, right?
Right, it's not the full-fledged poems because I don't have enough knowledge depth in Telugu language, but I do have the drive to express in a good,
Poetic
simple, simple and in feeling wise, touchy way and all that. So I used to write some Bhavageyalu, some poetry, and some articles, and both humorous and some spiritual and things like that, on and off to Telugu magazines and all that. And then I started, after I had my grandkids, is when I came up with the, don't know whether you remember or not, but we all grew up with the Vemana poems.
Of course.
And from our parents and grandparents. So when I had the grandkids and I was reading all the books to them, then I thought, oh, you know what? We used to hear all this Vemana wisdom from our parents and grandparents, and I wanted to share that with not only my grandkids, to all the kids in United States, both Indian, Telugu, Indian and mainstream kids, like a tribute to our elders, as well as sharing the Eastern philosophy to the Western world. So I got the idea of, after I retired, this is the book I published. What is Vemana saying? This was selling in Amazon as well. The one that I'm quite happy about is it's well received, because this is a story form moral values for the kids to remember. So from the Vemana
awards
poems,
also, right?
it has 2 awards: Mom's Choice Award in this country, United States, and the National Parenting Center Seal of Approval. And then, not only that, then I got the idea of taking this to the school districts. So I was busy with a project called, I've been busy with the project called Library Project, and me and family and friends donated, I worked with the school districts, criteria and approval process, and even for donation, there is a big approval process. So there are 16 6 school districts in this in Houston area, that each elementary school has this book in their libraries. In other states, 3 other states have a total 17 school districts have, each elementary school library has this book. And then we did the book shows in Chinmaya Mission, temples, cultural programs, and VHP, summer camp, like that, on and off. So that's about the about the book. What other
So
activities you want me to do?
You said the school districts, there is a process for
Yes.
accepting,
Yes,
even if it
yes.
is a donation.
Yes, yes.
What type of resistance you felt the undercurrent in those processes? Anything?
They were afraid if there is any one religion.
Religion. That is,
Religion, yes.
Okay, Vemana's sayings, they don't have any religion basis.
Exactly,
It's all value
and
system.
I purposely did not put any religion. I put only the universal values
Correct.
that are shared.
And
But you know what? There are 2 school districts that rejected.
even then,
Even then,
they're
the school-
suspicious of something you're trying to.
Don't know exactly. They just said that it doesn't meet their criteria or whatnot,
The broad
But
brush, yeah.
But in the beginning I got discouraged a little bit. Then I was talking to Mr. Robert Arnett, who was like my mentor on this book.
Oh.
So who came up with the India Unveiled and Finders Keepers
Yes.
book, and I met him. And then he said, don't, there are so many school districts, if one rejects, just move on to another one, which I did, So I'm glad I talked to him. And
Do you know, is it the first time Vemana
Yes.
sayings were translated from?
no, in English they were translated, meanings were given, but the story form,
Okay.
this is the first time it came.
And
Actually,
also
children's storybook.
Pictorially.
Yes, illustrations and everything. So that's what I gathered and I heard. And what other activities you were wondering? Yeah, I wanted to give back something to the community. This is one way of giving back. And another thing is I'm always interested in I was passionate about serving the elders. So I wanted to, serve to the elders in community, especially the ones that don't know English, especially our Telugu elders who stay at home, might get bored. In India, people come and go. Here, nobody comes. So I did that for a few years. I used to go and visit them, maybe massage their feet, and then read, or if they know a lot more knowledge, and listen to them, like that, depending on the circumstances. I enjoyed that quite a bit. I did that for a few years. Peddala Seva. Oh, before that, I thought Thanksgiving dinner for the Telugu students would be good.
From
So
the university.
yes, we did that from University of Houston, Telugu students, main campus, Clear Lake campus and all that. We used to have Thanksgiving dinners at our place. We did that for a few years. And then all the organizations in town were good supporters of DAYA and TCA and ICC and Meenakshi Temple. My husband served for Meenakshi Temple for 20 years. And then whatever service projects that he is with or helping his family, my family, I always been
The
with
other
them.
family are in the forefront of
So,
service.
Whatever little I did in my life, it's all God's blessings. And the main reason why my husband's support and
Of course.
encouragement and family and friends help throughout.
Your
That's
husband,
it.
Bhaskar Rao garu, as an engineer, entrepreneur, has been highly successful.
Yes.
And also he had a big heart to give, donations
yes.
and
Yes.
philanthropy.
Yeah.
So that way, Mutyala family is well recognized in the community. Now also you gave back so much to India whenever you established some scholarships, you tell about those.
Sure. But my husband and I, we both are into giving a lot. We do want to. I know we have not given enough. I know whatever little we have, we want to share. We may want to need to share much more. But his village and my village, we did some as a community service projects. In his village, whole family worked on setting up a high school, which that village didn't have high school. And then Aratlakatta, next to Kakinada. Okay. And then physiotherapy ward in his city is the general hospital. Then several scholarships in the high school. And then in our village, Chelluru, and we set up a walking track. We both are believers in walking, taking care of ourselves and exercise. So we set up a walking track for the villagers to get benefit and high schoolers in the school, and then set up scholarships there, and then old age home in Kakinada. And then we believe in developing the taking care of the existing temples rather than building new temples. So one Hanuman temple, our grandparents set up gave farmland and everything. Well, anyway, that got deteriorated, so we did the renovation to that Hanuman temple as well. And then like that, we did several projects there. And then we thought this country has given us so much, and the education we both are so much fond of. We need, and we got educated. Our livelihood in this country is due to education, so we wanted to give something back to education. Then the question is, which university do you select?
Yeah, that is a big challenge.
My husband went to University of Michigan, Western Michigan University. He did his MBA, and I went to Purdue University. I worked at Indiana University. I got my MBA executive MBA from University of Michigan, University of Houston, and my kids went to A&M and UT and Penn State.
Divided.
Penn State and everything. So my kids suggested, you guys have been living in the United States for so many years, maybe you may want to consider University of Houston. So we talked to University of Houston folks, so we chose University of Houston.
Actually, Foundation for India Studies is very happy to hear that you gave a big donation to the India Studies program.
Yes.
And because that was started by the FIS.
Yes, we clearly said it's a tier 1 scholarship, and we wanted them to give preference to, so there is no major yet. Okay. So right now there is a minor. So we specifically put it in there. It's an endowment fund, and we put it in there saying that give preference to the people who do the minor in India studies.
And you are also on the advisory board.
Yes. We both, my husband and myself, are on India Studies Advisory Board, which we are part of it, and we like it very much. Whatever little wisdom and advices that we can give, whichever way we can contribute, we want to continue as long as we can.
Tell me something about your music career.
I'm fond of music as well. So actually, I love Veena. So when we came to this country, to Houston, I realized that there is a Veena teacher, Mrs. Ranganarayan, and actually she played for Abdul Kalam in Rashtrapati Bhavan in Delhi with their invitation. And then, so I wanted, my daughter was only 8 years old, and I know it's hard for me to catch it at that elder age, but kids can catch easily. So I thought, okay, let me try so that I can help her to practice. So we both took Veena classes from Ranganarayan, Mrs. Ranganarayan. But then with computer work, I had elbow problems, tennis elbow. Tendonitis in the elbows. So I took Veena lessons only 5 years and I stopped, whereas Risha continued till end of her high school. And we both performed for TCA and the Tyagaraja Festival, Purandar Das Festival, like that. And then, a few other times. So that's my veena. Now and then I play, but then I thought, okay, I don't have any problem with even though I don't have a good voice, I can maybe try to train the voice. So from instead of veena, I switched it to vocal. So I'm still learning. So my teacher is fortunate to have Mrs. Anuradha Subramaniam. I had both great teachers who has a lot of patience. Encourage me. So I may need few more lives to get it more, but I am getting better. I do enjoy playing in Meenakshi temple for Navaratri time and like that. So I'm still learning veena. I still do paint. I donated few paintings to Meenakshi temple fundraising, Tanjore kind of paintings. You know, my teacher, actually I had only 15 minutes of discussion. That's the only teaching I got from Krishnamurti, Krishnamurti. She used to do a lot of paintings to Meenakshi temple. I used to see and admire, and I went and talked to her what media she uses and all that. And then just 15 minutes I took notes, and then I continued on my own. The way that she said it is, you try anything you want, you know. You figure out yourself what works for you, what doesn't work. That's exactly what my grandmother used to teach me also. So it's all, you know, most of it is self-taught kind of a thing. So I still paint. I did portraits of my 2 grandchildren. I have 2 more grandchildren to portrait paint.
That will keep you busy. And you have, I'm amazed being a computer engineer by profession and having these interests in various forms of art. And you're also an author. And anything you are planning to write another, like you have done Vemana Satyakaru. And there is another great composition of Sumati Satyakaru. That is also a great compilation of wisdom.
Yes.
Have you any plans to do those?
I have a lot of plans. I have a big list of things I like to do after I retire, which I took retirement about 11 years back. I barely scratched. But priorities, of course, my current priority is taking care of my husband, who is a cancer survivor. We're fortunate to be in Houston. Maybe I like to touch about how we benefited by being in Houston. So Houston helped me in shaping me what I am today. Education in the University of Houston, Executive MBA, 23 years of work experience, Gulf, Chevron, and Chevron Texaco. Spiritual growth through Meenakshi Temple, Chinmaya Mission, Art of Living. And social and cultural experiences through Telugu Cultural, ICC, ISCA, which is Senior Association, Fort Bend Women's Center, Veena, music, painting, and art show. I did an art show at Shangri-La Art Gallery that we had. All the Indian artists had an art show. In 2008, I did an art show. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And in good foundation for my kids' education. Their high school is in Houston, and excellent health care. And we're fortunate to have MD Anderson take care of all our health needs. So last 3.5 years, and then that's one of my concentration right now. And at the same time, I would like to tell what my contribution to Houston maybe is contributed as a Chevron employee to oil industry. Oil industry is the big part of economy in Houston, I believe, for the past 23 years, and supported and contributed to several social and cultural, spiritual organizations like Daya and all the other organizations I mentioned, and contributed to Vemana books to United Way, YMCA, and Read for Houston, and besides the other spiritual organizations and school districts that I mentioned, and participated in Partner in Education. While I was a Chevron employee, I used to tutor in needy schools by tutoring and participating in walkathons for good causes, and then beach cleanup. We did a few beach cleanups in Galveston and Clear Lake. And then we already talked about the scholarship endowment fund at University of Houston. So several people expressed another book for elders. They said, this book not only for children, it's a good reminder for elders as well, all the values and how we can apply it in a daily life. That's the good thing about this book, is how we can apply in our daily life. So I actually started, but then it kind of slowed down on that. But another project I have is my memories to my grandchildren. Grandmother's memories. I started that as well. That's the one I'm working on right now, which is also going very slow. And so those are the two I have that I like to finish, and my paintings of my other two grandchildren.
Regarding children, I want to ask you, are you concerned that they are basically merging in the main street and then they may be losing their culture, which this is an old culture we all come from.
Yes.
But are there any concerns for you?
I don't know whether you want to, of course there may be some concern, but at the same time we got to look at the reality as well. At the same time we can see it as progress too. We brought a lot of good things with us, and which we have been successfully passed on to our children, and we're still passing to our grandchildren. And they won't go away, They are with them. And then I definitely think that they are products of both good things from India and good things from United States. So they are products of both good things. And yes, some of the cultural things will be passed on to the next generations and next generations. Yes, some of them will lose. Some of them bad ones we lose, some of them good ones may we lose too, But there are several good ones will continue and survive. That's how I feel. And my son-in-law's background is from Taiwan. His parents came from Taiwan. So my daughter's children, those two grandchildren, have three cultures in them: Indian culture and Taiwan culture and American culture as well. So that's how I feel.
Very good. Any words of wisdom for the future generations?
Future generations, for me, my thing is I want to continue working on personal growth and spiritual growth and whatever help I can give to others. And we are here. I feel like this life is all about learning, improving, getting better, and realizing Almighty in myself and everyone, and everybody, and always, everywhere and always. So we should always remember that and then continue to work on learning. We can learn even from youngest one. In fact, that's something I learned from Akineni A&R, which I received one award.
Yeah, please show us. Tell us something.
He is one of the great, he came as a cultural ambassador in 1967 from India to United States.
Correct.
And recently they recognized his capacity and the greatness, and they have a stamp with his name and picture. Yes, recently, right. And my husband and I received Akineni Nageswarrao and Annapurna, first Annapurna award for me. And then I learned from him, even if from a baby or from the youngest one, we can learn from everyone, every place, all the time. So that is something that I want to remind everyone. Okay. So that is only one message I like to pass. Then the other one I wanted to show, since I brought it, I enjoyed this very much while I was working as a Chevron Toastmasters.
Oh.
So I was in Toastmasters, and this is one of the first place that I received in 1991. So I wish I continue Toastmasters even now. Don't laugh at me.
No, you amazed me, I didn't know what this was, and now you explained to me. And that means your oratory skills have come from some good training from Toastmasters.
Additional training in Toastmasters. So I still enjoy, like I have several interests. That is one thing. I wish I have time to continue on that. That you can continue even at your old age. So just like vocal, you can continue. And then another last message that I like to give is I love this Gandhi's one of the Gandhi's message. I like to close this interview with that message of Mahatma Gandhi's famous quote: "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," which I believe in strongly. We can complain all we want about anything and everything, but if we want a change, it needs to start with us.
Correct.
If we don't start it, don't wait other people to start. That's I like to remember that part. I like to remind everybody that the change must start with you. If any change you like to see in this world, that's the one. And I like to thank FIS and Oral Indian History Project, and you, Mr. Krishna Sastri Garu Vavilala, for giving me this opportunity to express my own experiences and my own thoughts and feelings.
It is our pleasure and our fortune that we have this interview with you, and we look forward for more conversations like this in the future. Thank you very much, Sita.